Okay, to start this chicken enchilada, I'm going to shred some chicken. Okay, I have 2 cups of shredded chicken there that I got from the rotisserie chicken. Then I'm going to add 2 cups of cheese, a little bit more. This is our favorite cheese. We get it from Trader Joe's. It's Swiss and Gruyere cheese. Okay, now I'm going to mix the cheese and the chicken all up together and make sure it's mixed up really, really well. I'm adding in a little bit of seasonings here. I've got celery seed, granulated onion powder. I'm going to be adding in some garlic powder. Now I'm mixing it up. Mix it up really, really well. Next, I'm going to have my tortillas here, and then I'm going to take about a handful, maybe a little less on some. You've got to check the size of the tortilla, and then roll it up. Place the seam side down in the pan. When I make the sauce, I'm going to be putting some on the bottom of the pan. So this is just like a holding pattern until I get the sauce made. So I'm going to be doing this one more time for you. I'm just going to roll it up and put it in the pan. Okay, I got all those tortillas rolled up. What I'm doing is I'm going to be adding, I think, a total of 6 tablespoons of butter. But right now I'm just finishing up a thing of butter here. I have to add more butter to this, but I'm going to be melting it over low heat. And here I'm just adding a little bit more of the butter. Okay, now that my butter's melted, I'm going to add in 6 tablespoons of flour. And make sure you mix this up really, really well. And then you just want to cook it out on a low heat until you get that raw flour taste out of it. You could tell by just smelling it. And I'm making this much because we like sauce, so we're having it, and if we have any left over, that would be great. Plus, I'm going to be putting it at the bottom of the pan too, so the bottom gets all that wonderful flavor as well. Okay, now that it's thickened up nicely, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken broth. We use chicken broth because it pairs perfectly with the meal, but some might want to use veggie broth. And I don't know how beef broth would taste with chicken enchiladas, but you can try if you want. And keep stirring while you're doing this so it all gets incorporated. I turned up the heat a little bit to make sure that the sauce gets thickened. I did adding a little bit of more chicken broth because it got really, really thick. Okay, a lot of people add green chilies if they want to the sauce, but we don't like green chilies, so I'm adding some diced green pepper. I had some leftovers, so we're going to use that. And then we're going to mix it up well. Okay, to this mixture, I'm adding 2 cups of sour cream. It's going to give it a really good flavor. Okay, you want to mix it up really, really well. You want to keep it on a lower heat because you don't want to curdle the sour cream. So just mix it up really, really well. Okay, after you're done mixing it up, you might want to taste for any seasonings that you may want and then mix it in there. Okay, after tasting it, it needed a little something, so I had a little bit of cream cheese left over, and I decided to use that. So I put that in, mixed it all up. So it took a little while to melt. It was on medium heat at this point. I didn't want to put it up too high. And then I decided to use a whisk to help it come out a little bit better. Yeah, so the whisk helped out quite a bit. Whisking, whisking, whisking. Taste it for any seasonings. And remember how I said earlier, I'm going to be putting some of the sauce in the bottom of the pan. It's a lot like lasagna. How you put lasagna sauce in the bottom of the pan. Well, I put a little bit of this sauce in the bottom of the pan. Yeah, and as you're doing it, make sure it gets to the corners and whatnot. Spread it around. You don't want any of that wonderful tortilla sticking to the bottom. Okay, and then I place the tortillas seam side down in the casserole dish. And I made a lot of them, so I had to split it up between 2. Then you're going to want to take your sauce and you're going to want to spread it over the top. And then I spread it evenly over the top. I had to add a little bit more. If you have to add a little bit more, do so, to make sure that it's covered. Also, you want to make sure that when you're doing this, you get the sauce in between the tortillas, so it'll all be sauced up. Okay, now to this, I'm going to add a little bit of the Swiss and Gruyere cheese again. If I can never get the bag open. There we go. Gonna want to spread that over the top. And like I said before, you can add whatever cheese you want on top. This is just our favorite kind of cheese. Okay, after you got the cheese on top, it's going to go into a preheated 350-degree oven. Make sure it's on the middle rack. And we're going to do it for about, I'm going to say about, I did 25 minutes. So after they were both done, I put it on a lined cookie sheet. They didn't quite fit, but here's what they look like going into the oven. They looked really good. They were just bubbling away. And then I put it under the broiler for about 5 minutes. Okay, here's the taste test. We haven't had this in, about 9 years.
Very good. Mm.
Oh, wow.
Good?
Tasty. Mm.
I got it for Joe.
I like it a lot.
You like it a lot?
Mm-hmm.
All right.